So once you have the shells of all the buildings done, and I have added more than where I left off because I wanted to give the feel of a big city, what we're going to do next is add some doors. What I'd like you to do is go to the building in the center of town, and based on the size of that building, I'd like you to think about how big a door would be that would make sense for this building. So if I had a door this tall, that's kind of weird and not quite accurate, because if a door was this high, it would be like walking into a refrigerator box, which would make the building way smaller than you want it to really be. So if this is a big building in a busy city, the door is not going to be very big or high up. What I'd like to do is use 2 vertical lines for the sides of the door, because the vertical lines will give the door its height, and then make the top of the door. Now, every building has a left side and a right side. Sometimes you can't see both sides of the building, like this one. You only see the right side. How do I know it's the right side? Well, with this building, this is its center line, and so anything on the right of that is the right side. The left side you can't see because it's pushed up against this building. Hopefully that makes some sense. So back to the first building. I'm on the left side. I'm going to make a door. The door is going to come from the base, the bottom of the building. I'm going to have 2 vertical lines to give it height, and then I'm going to top it off with a line that goes to the left vanishing point because I'm on the left side of the building. If I was drawing a door on the right side of the building, I would top it off, the top of the door, going to the right vanishing point. So it depends on which side of the building you're working on. And it could be a building further back for this building. If I'm going to draw a door on the left side here, left of the center line, the top of the door will go to the left vanishing point. But I can also see the right side of the building here. So if I did a door on the right side with 2 vertical lines, the top of the door would go to the right vanishing point. Let me show you. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to use vertical lines to make a single door. The bottom of the door on the left side of the building goes to the left vanishing point because it sits on the line that already goes to the left vanishing point. The top of the door needs to go to the left vanishing point. So I can't talk today. Put that on there now. So it's going to be angled up if it's lower on the paper. Okay, you see that? If I want a door on the buildings further back and I want them to be the same height, most doors are the same height, then I simply would, watch this, take my ruler, line it up with the first door I've established. It's going to the left vanishing point. See that? So now on the left side of all these buildings back here, if I want to make doors that are the same height, I'm just going to draw a line that lines up with the first door as it travels to the vanishing point. So all these lines that I've made are also lined up with the first line I've drawn. So way back here, that's the height of a door that's the same size up close, but just further back. Now this is a single door. Let me show you how to make a double door. Basically, you're going to make it wider to start. So I have a vertical line and a vertical line. Okay, so this is a wider door. Now you could make maybe a garage door if it's an auto repair shop or something like that, but this is going to be a double door. Now you can't just measure and say, oh, this is about halfway and draw a line down. There's actually a little cheat code I want to teach you, and that is basically once you establish the vertical lines and the lines going to the vanishing point, to find the center of the door where you're going to divide it in half, the cheat code is this. Take a ruler and line up opposite corners to one another. And do this lightly because you're going to erase this. And you're basically going to connect the opposite corners to make an X. Where the X crosses, that's the center line of the door. It's better to use a very fine point accurate pencil than it is to use a marker. Trust me on that. So there's my X. Where the X crosses in the middle, that's the center of this door shape, which means if I draw a vertical line down, that's going to divide the door in half, and then I can erase the X. The X is just a cheat code to help me find where the center is. And you don't have to do double doors, but they kind of look cool. So there it is. Some of you had a little bit of a tricky time making your vertical lines perfectly vertical. Sometimes it's helpful to compare your vertical lines with the edge of the paper because the edge of the paper is vertical. Sometimes in looking over your work, I have seen some vertical lines do something like this. Now you can clearly see the ruler is at an angle compared to this edge of my paper. So use the edge of your paper as a guide, as well as your maybe center vertical line is probably going to be more accurate. Come in here. This is going to be tricky to erase. Probably use my, oh shoot. I'm going to have to go back in and fix that up. I'm hoping that makes sense to you. So if I wanted a single door back here or a double door, I would have to do the vertical lines, and just depending on how far apart they are would determine if it's a single door or if I need to do an X to find the center to make it a double door. For the sake of time, I am going to make it a single door so we can move on. So you see how the doors are getting smaller as they go back? They're all in perspective, and that vanishing point helped you to do that. What if I wanted doors on the other side of my town, on the side where the buildings are, that are the same height as the doors I've already established? Watch how I'm going to do that. Go back to lining up the ruler with the very first door you made, the top of it, which happens to line up with the tops of all of the doors over here, right? And then on the center line of your center building, just make a little mark. Oops. Thanks. Take that little mark and now line it up with the opposite vanishing point. Okay, and then on the right sides of the building, I'm just going to draw little lines here that go to the vanishing point over there, lined up with that point. And now any doors I put on these buildings will be the same height as this first door. Okay, every building that you see the bottom of needs a door or a double door, your choice. The background buildings do not need doors, but if you wanted to put a door on a building in the background or even up high, you still could do that. You could do a rooftop door so that coming from this building out onto this rooftop, since they're touching. If they're not touching, I would not put a door up high. You're going to do two vertical lines. Now in this case, on this building, I'm on the right side, so the top of the door would go to the right point. I'll show you quick. This is an option. All buildings that you can see the bottom of do need a door so you can get in. So I'm on the right side of the building going to the right point, and there's the top of my door. Okay, hopefully that makes some sense to you. Every building needs a door that you can see the bottom of. And the next thing we're going to do is windows.